you educating them on why you are the right agent and they don't need to go elsewhere, or why your price is right, your commission is right, whatever that objection is. So in this case, I would ask some clarification questions like, in the past, when I've sat down with sellers, the two most important things to them are how much money I make you, right? List to sales price, and how fast I can sell your home. Other than those two categories, is there anything else you're going to be weighing me against any other agents?
Nope.
Yeah, perfect. We're on the same page. Now, luckily, this is so important to everyone I sit down with. I've already built something up here, and I've pulled all the data for you, so I'm going to save you some time. And I have a slide deck that will show my percentages versus the average agent here in San Diego.
Welcome to the Whissel Way Podcast. I am your host, Bryan Koci, Director of Marketing here at Whissel Realty Group, and today I'm joined by my special guest host, Mike Proctor.
Hey guys, Mike Proctor. I'm an agent here on the Whissel team.
And Mike, how long have you been here on the team?
A little over 4 years.
Cool. And I think he's downplaying a bit. He's one of our top agents the past probably 4 years since you've been here. Yeah. So Mike comes with a wealth of knowledge, a experience in coaching anywhere from real estate agents to fitness to gyms to high school, which I think is probably as hard as real estate agents are, high school, I don't think there's anything harder than teaching high school boys.
And girls.
Well, I guess I wouldn't say it's hard to teach them not to hit each other, but you're teaching them to hit each other.
No, I'm teaching them to pick each other up and throw each other around.
Okay.
It's much less violent.
Okay. Anyways, that's Mike Proctor. If you guys are watching on the YouTube series, the YouTube show, God,
yeah,
on the YouTubes,
you'll get it.
Goodness, it is not looking great for the show so far. You'll see what he looks like. Anyways, thank you guys for watching the Whissel Way Podcast. If you guys want more information like this, don't worry, we're not done. We're just starting. Feel free to subscribe to the podcast. We appreciate that. Follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, join our referral network, join our email newsletter, or learn more about our video course, Media Mastermind, where we go in depth everything Kyle and I have learned, not only just him and I working together, but with building out our team to create video content that people actually care about. If you want to find one spot where all that is there, go to thewhisselway.com, thewhisselway.com.
How do you do that without having notes?
I did about a 4 out of 10 compared to Kyle. He does it word for word every time. I think that was pretty good, though.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Yep.
My notes have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
So, like, subscribe, share. We've got all that.
Yeah.
Facebook. Cool.
Smash the like button, right?
Smash it. All right, let's get it kicked off. The reason why we asked Mike here, Mike, we have done videos together for years. We've done objection handling videos specifically. Objection.thewhisselway.com, I think, is the website for that.
Is that where it is?
We haven't done it for a long time. We should do more.
Yeah.
We've done objection handling. Again, you teach people at our office. You host Tuesday meetings. You've done a lot with teaching agents. One of the things that I really wanted to talk about that I think a lot of agents can get really good tactical information. That's what I'm really invested in, is tactical information, something that you can use, not just ideas and whatever, about how to overcome objections. And you have a 4-step process.
Right. One of the most frustrating things to me when I was learning how to be in sales, this was working at the gym, is listening to people that would just talk in theory. Oh, in general, when somebody does this, you should do that. And there's no practical application to that.
Conferences do that all the time. It drives me fucking nuts.
Yep.
I love that, good, and I'm a super high I.
Yeah.
So, okay, stories, you had a tough childhood, you went, I get it. I'm not diminishing that.
Yeah.
But the reason why I go to a conference is to learn what to do, not to be proud of you for overcoming adversity. like
100%.
good for you.
Yeah.
But how
Kudos,
do I,
but
how do I take
sell
that?
more houses?
Yes. So that's one thing that I'm very passionate about, and I think you and I are very similar, especially you being such a high D. You don't have time to bullshit around. No. You're like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this.
We got work to do.
Yeah.
So before I get into the 4 steps, the number one thing that I think so many people kind of miss the mark when they're trying to overcome objections is they forget why they're trying to overcome the objection, or they're not really in tune with the reason why they're trying to overcome that objection. And what I mean by that is, I'm sure if we polled 10 agents, they'd be like, well, I want the commission. I want the listing, right? Like it's me, 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 me. But if we can shift that thought process slightly and we can have you start thinking about, I am going to do everything in my power to get you to say yes to working with me so that you don't make the mistake of going with some dipshit agent that's not going to do for you what I can do.
Are there really dipshit agents though?
I know so many. But
and everyone that's listening has worked with a handful this month of dipshit agents.
There's no question in my mind. As soon as I said that, there was a picture of a name over a person that came into your mind, and you're like, that's the dipshit agent he's talking about.
I've got several immediately.
But think about it. You've interacted with those dipshit agents because they got somebody to say yes to them. And if you could have gotten to that somebody before that dipshit and had them say yes to you, you could have helped save them a ton of heartache, headache, and even gain some money.
Yeah, and so I think it would be a lie to say that people don't come into real estate for money. Like that is a factor.
This is not a philanthropist's job.
That is a factor of like, hey, I want to make money.
Right.
But I think a vast majority of people that come into real estate also genuinely want to help people.
Without question.
I think there are dipshit agents. I think there are sleazy agents that it's only me. But I think if you're listening to this, I have a strong suspicion that you genuinely want to help people.
Well, because you're looking for self-improvement.
100%.
And if you're looking to make yourself better, I think the end result there is you want to help more people.
100%.
Right? And so if you can get in tune with, you are the best person to help this prospect, it makes overcoming objections more palatable. Because from the feedback that I've received, and even overcoming objections myself, it is really uncomfortable asking somebody to move forward with something after they've told you no.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can get in tune with that and understand and really align that identity of, I am the greatest listing agent ever to walk the planet. I am the best buyer's agent ever to come in contact with this buyer.
Save that clip. We're just going to run that over and over. Be like, Mike is so humble. I am.
Oh, no. Damn you, technology. But if you can really identify with that, and then they give you an objection, overcoming that objection almost becomes like, that is your job.
100%. And I'm going to add one more analogy before we get into the really tactical stuff. Because as you're explaining it, you want to help people, right? And we pushing past after they say no, you go, well, now I'm forcing them. But that may be a thought. But after having kids, I have a very different perspective on, they may say no, but they are wrong. And they don't know they're wrong. In their mind, they're right. And I'm not saying every time someone says no to you, they're wrong.
Yeah.
But, hey, Georgia, put your shoes on when you go outside. No. She's got a cut on her toe, and she's been crying about it for 2 days. I'm like, she went with the dipshit agent, and I didn't do a good job overcoming the objection and helping her get to the right spot. So that way she got to where she wanted to be, which was not having a fucked up foot. So
there you go. Being a good parent.
Well,
it's like being a good closer, but different.
Yeah. Anyways. So let's get into it. There's 4 steps. What is the first step?
So when somebody gives you an objection, our knee-jerk reaction is usually to start explaining to them why they're wrong.
Yep.
So the first step in overcoming an objection is acknowledging that objection. If you meet them with resistance, they are going to put up defenses. Mm-hmm. Where if the first thing out of their mouth is, I need to speak to other agents. Oh, that makes sense. So many of my clients before you have said the same thing. I do not want to say I completely understand. Because if they give me an objection and I say I completely understand, the conversation's over. I don't get to continue.
I partially understand.
I don't understand.
What about...
I see why you would say that. So many other people have said the same thing in your exact same position. Or, kudos. It's important to make sure that you're making the right decision. And when you're dealing with something like selling your home, it's incredibly important that you make the right selection. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Perfect. I've acknowledged that this is a sticking point for you.
So you say acknowledge, don't agree.
No.
Interesting. Okay, carry on.
No,
I like it.
I want to normalize it. I want them to feel like other people have said this and felt this way.
So I'm going to change step one from acknowledge to acknowledge and normalize.
You could do both, yeah.
Because the second part of it was...
I like to acknowledge and normalize. But the key to it is acknowledge. Make sure that they don't meet resistance when they give you an objection.
That makes sense. I see why.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see why you would want to do this. Mm-hmm. Then you want to isolate it.
Okay.
So, Koci, is the only thing holding you back from signing the listing with me today interviewing other agents?
Yes.
Perfect. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. Now, then I go, so I need to isolate it.
Because if I said no, then they give you another objection.
What else would keep you, right?
And you start at step one again and go down.
Because otherwise I'm going to get into this loop
Yep.
of overcoming an objection, then overcoming an objection, and sometimes you're going to do that anyway, just because people don't realize you're going to put them in a corner and, make them say yes. But by asking that isolation question, is this the only thing keeping you from hiring me today? The key to this, every time I ask a question, I need to shut up and let them talk.
Sorry, as I'm writing down notes, you're like, answer the question, Brian.
No, and that's the thing. That's what makes this so uncomfortable. Because I'm going to ask you questions that I need you to respond to. I know the answer, but I need you to say it out loud. I need you to breathe it into existence. And I need to shut the fuck up and let you do that.
Now, have there ever been times where people give you verbal or nonverbal cues, shake their head, yes,
and that's fine. That's still an acknowledgement.
Okay, you're just like, I need to just say it, bro. say the word yes.
I put the recorder on the table and say it for the FBI. No, that's coalescing. That's going along with it, right?
Cool.
So once I've gotten them to isolate it, and they're like, yep, that's the only thing keeping me back today, and they think that's their out. They're like, I'm done. I'm out of here.
Because I've already said I want to talk to other agents.
Oh, that was what's holding me back. We're good. So the next thing is going to be overcoming. And this is the educational part of our production. This is where, if it's a price objection, if it's for instance, this one here where I need to interview other agents, this is where it's going to be a little bit more of you educating them on why you are the right agent and they don't need to go elsewhere, or why your price is right, your commission is right, whatever that objection is. So in this case, I would ask some clarification questions in the past, when I've sat down with sellers, the two most important things to them are how much money I make you, right? List to sales price, and how fast I can sell your home. Other than those two categories, is there anything else you're going to be weighing me against any other agents?
Nope.
Yeah, perfect. We're on the same page. Now, luckily, this is so important to everyone I sit down with. I've already built something up here, and I've pulled all the data for you, so I'm going to save you some time. And I have a slide deck that will show my percentages versus the average agent here in San Diego. And
I actually pulled those slides.
Yeah,
I pulled those numbers.
It's beautiful. And this is the benefit of working on a team, because what the team does, you can say you've done.
Yep.
So
and pretty soon I'm going to have my team do it, and I'll still take credit.
I know the numbers. So, and at this point, it's educating. This is your overcoming / educating, right? This is where I'm giving them the data that they need, and I'm going to ask for their acknowledgement, right? Hold on. I haven't gotten to the next step yet.
I'm not at the next step yet.
Right. So in this, I'm going to say, so you can see here, the average agent, anybody else you have sit in this seat is going to be at this number. Where when you list with me, we're at this number. So I guess a question would be, would you rather go with the average agent here in San Diego and have it take longer to sell your home and make less money? Or would you rather sign the listing with me now and go with getting your home sold in your timeline and making the money you want to make?
I think option A is better.
Yeah.
Average agent, longer.
Perfect. You do have a real estate license, right?
Yeah,
you sound like that dipshit agent I just talked to the other day.
And so what I think is really interesting about this 4-step process is your step 3 is where a lot of people go into step 1 and usually kind of fumble through it.
They skip 1 and 2 completely.
Yeah.
And just go right into, well, let me just vomit information all over you. And now it's a contest, right? It's them versus me. And it's like arguing with your wife. Even if you win, you're going to lose, right? Like, that shit just doesn't fly. So
you're like, ha! Yeah, I get to sleep on the couch.
Totally. It's like, I won that argument and I need to cook dinner again. Right? Like, damn it.
Yeah.
So your 3rd step leads directly into the 4th step. Okay, so once you've overcome it, once you've educated them.
And before we go into the 4th step, I want to talk about something that we were just talking about. And I've heard this from Kyle. I've heard this from our director of sales, Rachel. And really, this was a simple mind shift for me. And again, I don't sell, but I take things personally. I take things offensively. I'm an emotional person. I don't remember the exact phrase, but an objection is not them saying no. It's giving you an opportunity to explain something further. They're you haven't convinced them yet. They're missing information. An objection gives you the opportunity to give them more information.
So that is so incredibly powerful, because this is why so many people don't like being in sales. And this aspect of what we do right here is what makes us salespeople, which is why so many people shy away from it. So when somebody says no to you, they are not saying no to you. And it's not personal.
I hear it as, I fucking hate you, Brian, go away. And Mike, what do you hear?
What I hear is, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Just like your child looking at you going, I don't understand why I don't need to wear shoes.
Why I do need to wear shoes.
But because she wants to not wear shoes.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand why she has to. Right? And there's an innocence in that. And if I come at that aggressive and combative, I'm going to sever this relationship. They are never going to look at me for help, guidance, consultation ever again. Right? And if we walk into that, and even if they are aggressive, even if they are combative, I'm going to look at it like, you don't know any better. Right? This is my puppy that has a hurt foot in the corner. If they bite me, it's not their fault. I need to help them. Right? So when I come into this and they object, physically, I will usually sit back and I'll say, hey, I get why you would say that. I've had other people in the same situation say the exact same thing.
Normalizing. I love that.
Now, I'm curious. Is that the only thing holding you back from listing the house today? Yes. Perfect. So, Brian, if I understand your situation correctly, you're looking to get to Arizona in a short period of time. You're looking to make as much money off of this property as humanly possible. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. We've both identified, based on the comparables, our market's shifting in the wrong direction for you to make the most money off your house. Agreed?
Yeah.
So time is of the essence. Now, luckily...
So good. So, literally just making shit up and was like, this is so good.
Yeah. I might have done this once or twice.
Yeah.
So luckily,
today.
I've already pulled the data to help you make this decision. as opposed to going through this 45-minute interview 7 more times. I mean, there are 15,000 agents in San Diego. How many were you going to interview before you picked the right one?
14,000.
Okay, so let me save you a couple days. Right? Here's the data. Here's their numbers. Here's my numbers. This is what you can expect when you hire me. Now I transition.
Stage 4. Step 4.
My question to transition, I need them to acknowledge. Working with me is a better idea than working with the other guys. I'm not closing yet.
So this is not step 4 yet.
I need them to acknowledge that they agree with the education I have just provided. This is how I finish step 3.
Cool.
Normally I'll say, so does that make sense? Depending upon the specific objection that I have to overcome, that usually works universally.
Because then if they say no, it's literally them saying, I don't understand.
Right.
At that point, they're not saying, no, you're dumb. They're just like,
no, that doesn't make sense. Okay. Help me unpack a little bit. Mm-hmm. Which part of it did you not understand?
So you're just diving deeper into overcome, clarify, and educate.
I'm not going to move in until they get that and they understand and they go, yeah, that does make sense. Perfect. The next step is close. And this is the part that so many people just don't do. They educate, they get that, yeah, that makes sense. And then they just sit there like it's the prospect's responsibility to just be like, well, did you bring a listing agreement?
I shall sign 7 times, please.
Look, I brought my own pen. Like they don't do that. So at this point, you're going to move into the close. And what I like to do for the close is I'll say, okay, well, let me grab the calendar. When do you want to schedule photos? Right? I'm going to assume now that they've agreed with my education piece, and that was the only thing stopping them from listing with me today, and they agreed that my education overcame their objection. So let me grab the calendar. What day do you want to schedule photos?
And that way you're getting a small commitment before, even though that means they're committing to the whole thing, but you're just asking for something small.
Yep.
to lead them in. I love it.
Yep. And at that point, they'll coalesce and just kind of walk down the path with me.
Cool. I love the when do you want to schedule photos. That's great.
I'm sure you like that.
I mean, as long as we're available. They're like, tomorrow at 11 p.m. Like,
no, I need 7 days notice.
Okay, so let me kind of recap here in the last minute or so before we go into our widget.
Okay.
So the 4 steps. Well, before that, an objection is an opportunity to educate.
So, step by step.
Well,
First
I was going to say before
your responsibility is to get in front of every other dipshit agent that could ever try to ruin their life. It is your responsibility to stop that from happening. Secondarily, when they do give you an objection, it is them screaming for help. It is an innocence within them that doesn't understand how this works.
I love that so much.
Right? And if you look at it that way, it's no longer combative. You're now helping somebody. Right? This is the philanthropy that we have, right?
Yes.
I hate that word.
I know. I laugh because you like big words. Anyways, so the 4 steps to overcoming the objection. 1, acknowledge and normalize. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I can see why you would say that. A lot of my clients are in that same situation. Normalize.
You'd be surprised how many people have said that exact same thing.
Good. Step 2 is isolate. Is this the only thing keeping you from hiring me today? Yep. And if they say no, then go back to acknowledge and normalize.
What else is it that you're looking for?
Cool. And so that way you kind of do a small loop rather than get to the close and then they go, new objection. Yep. Shit, now I got to do it again.
Exactly.
Cool. Step 3, overcome, clarify, and educate. And that's usually, like I said, people's step 1.
Right.
And then you transition out of that with, does that make sense? And we need a affirmative.
Yes. Need some physical, verbal affirmation there.
Yep. And then you go into the close.
Yeah.
That's not that hard.
It's not.
And you know what the funny thing is, the things that we're asking you as an agent listening to add to this process are the easy things. Yep. Like, you already go into the overcome. Like, telling you to acknowledge, normalize, and isolate, that's way easier than actually overcoming the objection. We're not asking you to do something harder. I mean, overcoming the objection is the hardest part. 100%. And you already have to do that. But if you acknowledge, normalize, isolate, that's going to make it feel much easier when you go to overcome. You're building more rapport.
Yep.
And you are going to figure out exactly what they need, and if your services can help that.
Yep.
I love it, Mike.
Right on,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So before we go into our Whissel widget of the
it's not just me.
Whissel widget of the week, I'm going to ask, beg, implore, plead, offer, whatever. If you could like, subscribe, share. If this made an impact with you, share it on any of the platforms you prefer, with a friend, a coworker, your team. Maybe you share it with a dipshit agent. You don't tell them you're the dipshit agent, but maybe you share it with someone that you've worked with.
Please share this with the dipshit agent. Let's raise the bar. Help
absolutely.
them. Look at them as that innocent child that needs help and bringing up.
Absolutely.
They don't know any better. Help them.
And so share this with whether it's via the podcast. We're always looking for more podcast subscribers. The YouTube channel, not only obviously this is on YouTube, but also snippets from our Tuesday meetings, small videos giving more tips, Facebook, any of those places. So please, we ask, encourage, and appreciate all of those shares. So let's get into our Whissel widget of the week. This is something that we use in our business, in our lives, on a semi-regular basis that either helps us have more fun, save money, get things done more efficiently. Just something we use. I'll kick it off first. One of the things that I've been using in my business for my own personal videos is an app called Captions. It's on iPhone only. It's called Captions for Talking Videos, because I'm guessing Captions was already taken. But what I love about Captions is you can be pretty unique with the captions. It auto-transcribes it for your video. It'll put it on your video. You can do different styles, different colors. You can have it show up one word at a time, one phrase at a time. Really helps get a lot more engaging video content without having to do a lot of work. It does take some time. You do have to go through and make sure things are spelled right and stuff like that. But it's pretty good. And especially if you're doing it for reels. Like, I would not do this for a podcast. For me, it would take forever.
It's too long.
But for a 15, 30, 45, 90-second reel, it takes you 5 minutes. You get some cool-looking captions. You can use your brand colors, whatever. I'm a big fan. Nice. So it's called Captions. There's a free version. I don't know what they offer. I do the paid version. I think it's like $8 a month, which is expensive for an app. I get it. But if you were to do it in Adobe Premiere, literally the alternative for me would take me 10 times longer and probably wouldn't look as cool. So the app that I have is called Captions.
Nice.
What do you got, Mike?
So mine's not so much business related. As you mentioned earlier, I am a wrestling coach for a high school, and we're coming up to the wrestling season. So I've been focused for the last 30 days of really leaning out and getting ready so that I can beat these kids up.
Legally and with permission?
Oh, I tell them at the first practice, I'm like, I'm a wrestling coach so that I can pick you up and throw you around when you get lippy. So I've really been focused on my macros and focused on my calories so I can lean out. And I found this app. It's called MyFitnessPal, and it tracks per meal, per snack, any and every type of food imaginable. And then I just found out it has restaurants in it with the food that are on restaurants. So last night I had 700 calories remaining, and my wife bought her and the kids a bunch of Taco Bell. Well, they had some leftover Taco Bell, and I had leftover calories, and I was like, I wonder. So I looked in there. Sure enough, all 130 items on the Taco Bell menu are on the app. So I had a chalupa.
How many calories?
It was 370 calories. But the coolest part is it gives you this little pie of what your macronutrient mix is for the day. And I only use the free version, and all of that's available.
Sweet.
There's a paid version that I don't even, maybe it gives you back massages. I don't know. But
I need a back massage app. Let's go.
But yeah, it's fantastic. It's called MyFitnessPal.
Cool.
It's been really helpful.
Well, thank you so much, Mike. Thank you for sharing your 4 steps to overcoming an objection. I think that was super, super valuable. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys on the next week's episode of the Whissel Way Podcast.
Wait. Before you leave, I want to share some more tips and tricks that we're using in our business to take it to that next level. Just click right here. And don't forget to subscribe. Click right here.